My presentation is on the GAO report. It was a report from February of 1994 to the Honorable Marcy Kaptur, a member of the House of Representatives, in response to concerns expressed regarding elementary school kids that move schools frequently. And it was from the United States General Accounting Office. It contained information on elementary-age children who changed schools frequently. It included the number of kids that moved frequently and their characteristics, the success in school relative to kids that did not change schools. It included the help that federal programs provide or do not provide, and the help of a federal student record system. The Prospect study of 1991, where most of the data was compiled, was based on a completed questionnaire to parents, teachers, and school principals nationwide, containing information on third graders. 15,000 third graders in 235 different elementary schools. It contained a measure of student mobility, which was the number of schools a third grader had attended since the first grade. Children were separated into three groups. The first group, for purposes of this study moving forward, we'll refer to them as children who never changed schools, were children who attended the same school since the first grade. The second group were students who attended two schools since the first grade. And the third group, who moving forward we will refer to as children who have changed schools frequently, were students who have attended three or more schools since the first grade. The GAO report findings found that children from low-income families or attend inner-city schools were far more likely than others to have changed schools frequently. 17% of all third graders, which is more than 500,000, change schools frequently. Of the third graders from low-income families, which were families that earned less than $10,000 a year, 30% changed schools frequently, compared with 10% from families with incomes of $25,000 or more. Roughly 25% of third graders in inner-city schools have changed schools frequently, compared with 15% of third graders in rural or suburban schools. Migrant and limited English proficient students are also more likely than others to have changed schools frequently. Of migrant children, about 40% change schools frequently, compared with 17% of all children. That's more than 2 times the amount of children. Of LEP children, about 34% change schools frequently, compared with 17% of all children. The consequences of students moving frequently. Of the nation's third graders who have changed schools frequently, 41% are low achievers, which means they are below grade level in reading, when compared to 26% of third graders who had never changed schools. 33% were below grade level in math, when compared with 17% of third graders who have never changed schools. They were also 2.5 times more likely to repeat a grade as third graders who have never changed schools. They're also more than twice as likely to have nutrition and health or hygiene problems. Of migrant third graders who have attended 3 or more schools since the first grade, 21% receive migrant services, compared with 54% of migrants who have not changed schools at all. Why, when considering they're all able to receive services? Why are there so many who are not? And the answer is there's just not sufficient data. So problems with the data are that current student record systems vary as to data elements included. For migrant students that transfer to and from schools, most of the records go to and from Arkansas. And they travel via electronically, which is obviously faster than snail mail, which they still use. And it takes either anywhere from 2 to 6 weeks for test results, assessments, present levels, to get to their needed destination. Considering a new student coming into a new placement midway through the year into a potentially packed classroom, that can be extremely hard and a burden for a teacher who's in the middle of their pacing guide to properly place that student. The MTRS, federal system that tracks migrant children, is slow, incomplete, and used infrequently. So what are the solutions? So the solutions is improve access to Chapter 1 services, especially the kids who are frequently moving. Second is better focus migrant education program funding on migrant children most in need of services. So the students who move the most or who have the lowest levels need the help the most, but they're the most unlikely to get it, and that needs to change. And finally, improved or new student record systems would aid in all of this.